Hello, Chef Jonathan. It is a pleasure to have you as a guest on my podcast.
Pleasure to be here.
I would like to share that Chef Jonathan is one of the best chefs that I've worked with when it comes to his willingness to create those above and beyond moments for our guests. And I will take this moment to give out a huge shout out to his culinary team at the Park Hyatt as well. As a concierge, I feel very confident planning and promising special things for the guests, knowing that you and your team have always got my back. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, like you said, it's definitely a team effort. I'm just the conductor.
Now, Chef, can you share a bit about your journey into the culinary world and what inspired you to become a chef?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was younger, I always needed a job. I didn't really know what I was gonna do, but um my parents made me work for everything I wanted, and I used to skateboard a lot and I used to break a lot of skateboards. So I always had a newspaper route. Like that was my like first job when I was like 12, 13.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started getting better at skateboarding and I started breaking more skateboards and the newspaper route like couldn't really cut it anymore. So when I got to I don't know how old I was when I started in dishwashing, but that was like my first like real job was just at the dishwasher
Hmm.
when I was 15 or 16. And I know my first job was dishwasher at Swiss Chalet, and I think it lasted like a whole 3 weeks. I think that was the only job I got like fired from because I just like I don't know I asked for time off or something like that, and the guy just like didn't have it really. But yeah, I started dishwashing at like Moxie's, and it was fun. Like I was working with some of my friends, and like, obviously the hospitality industry, you meet so many like-minded people.
Hmm.
And when I was 16 years old, I was a little bit of a partier, I guess, and like you know, I had no idea what I wanted to do for the rest of my career. And then one time the guy on the sandwich section just didn't show up for work. They're like, "All right, John, you're making sandwiches today," and I fell in love with it. It was just like the chaotic mess of it was just like so much fun to me. Um, the like chaotic, organized, like speed of everything, the adrenaline. It was just like it was so much fun, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm actually like I like this. I'm pretty good at it. Maybe I'll like try my hand at cooking." So I kind of moved up for a couple years in Moxie's,
Hmm.
and I moved up quick because I was super dedicated. And I mean, all I did was work in high school. All I did was like I had a full-time job while I was still going to most of my classes, at least going to high school, I should say.
Hmm.
And then I did like my co-op. I wasn't the best student. I just didn't I had crazy ADHD and I just couldn't pay attention in class.
I
So
see.
I wasn't like the best at school,
Hmm.
but I loved cooking. So I actually did my grade 12 completely on co-op, getting credits for working as a chef. And then from there, I worked my way kind of up in that like corporate restaurant scene for a while, and then I decided I kind of wanted to stop kind of cooking in those kind of fast service
Hmm.
casual fine dining restaurants. I wanted to learn how to like really cook, so I signed up for Niagara College just to get out of Toronto for a bit as well.
Hmm.
And I went to culinary school when I was like 21, so I was a little bit older. I like kind of waited a couple years after high school,
Hmm.
and I just excelled at it. It was the first time I ever did good in school. I got on like the dean's honor list. My average in culinary school was like 96% or something
Wow.
crazy because it was something I actually cared about. Um, you know, going from barely passing high school to 95 or 96% average in culinary school was pretty great.
Amazing.
Um, yeah, and it just kind of shows like if you actually care about something. For people like me at least, like who have ADHD and just like don't really like learning things when you have no interest in it. Um, it's pretty cool to see what you can do if you actually put your mind to it. And then the rest of the story is just kind of like, okay, after culinary school, I just wanted to work for the best chefs
Hmm.
in Toronto. So got a job at Richmond Station, which was like Carl Heinrich's restaurant, who just won Top Chef Canada the like second season.
Hmm.
And he trained me a lot, and like he really like took time to mentor me, and I learned a lot about cooking from him in the 3 years that I was at Richmond Station, and from everybody else that was in the kitchen as well. Um, but it just like taught me a ton. And then after that, I kind of outgrew that kitchen, and I wanted to work at the best restaurants in the world. So I moved to England, and I worked at some of the best restaurants and Michelin star restaurants around there for 3 years on a 2-year visa. And it was difficult. Like in London, at the Michelin star level,
Mm-hmm.
you can get replaced at any second. Like I think at my first job at the Clove Club, I used to get threatened to be fired every single day. I think there was one day where he fired me 3 times. And they don't actually mean it, but they're just kind of waiting for people to not come back because they have a lineup of young cooks who are willing to take your job.
Wow.
So yeah, London was difficult. We were working like 19, 20-hour days, and it was hard. It was pretty brutal. It was pretty cutthroat.
Wow.
Like not only were the sous chefs and chefs above you mean, but also all the other cooks wanted to look good as well. So it was a pretty like cutthroat cooking world over there.
Wow.
But I mean, it jump started my career so much. I came back to Toronto and got a head chef job immediately, and then I've just been kind of going up from there.
That's amazing. And you are doing wonders.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah,
Chef.
no
And
problem.
I know that you're very keen on sustainability and upcycling, even at Park Hyatt Toronto, at what you do right now. Can you
Yeah,
share how sustainability kind of plays an important role in your menu planning and ingredient selection?
yeah, definitely. I mean, at Richmond Station, we only bought whole animal. We had a farm where we had a bunch of vegetables, and like that was part of Carl's ethos, was to just cook
Mm-hmm.
everything. You can't waste things if you want to make money, especially if it's your own restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And we had uh, daily features where we had to create specials, and most of the time you were kind of given, this is what you have to use, make a dish with it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it kind of jump started my creativity by creating dishes for the past like 12 years now. Um, I didn't have a choice. I just had to create. That was what you were expected to do as the job. And if you wanted to excel, you had to keep on creating food. And I've just kind of taken that with me everywhere I went. Like, um, always using whole animal, always using the bones, always using like the pieces of vegetables and meats that people normally throw away. We kind of treat it as like a game. Like, okay, what can we do with this? Can we make it delicious? Can we use it somewhere else? Can we turn it into something else? And there's obviously like a lot of failures.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of trial and error. Like sometimes we make things and it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at least we're trying. And then other times you make things and it turns out like so amazing that now you're buying certain things in just to recreate these products. Like we've made a lot of things over the years that were just like, it started off as an experiment and now it's like a staple on our menu. Yeah, we try to use like everything we can, especially kind of after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Prices have gone up. I mean, everybody has seen it in grocery stores just going shopping. It's
Yeah.
the same for restaurants as well. Like food prices have gone up by
Mm-hmm.
so much. I actually did a talk like 2 years ago
Mm-hmm.
about rising food prices and how restaurants are dealing with it and how chefs are dealing with it. And I pretty much said the same thing. Like if you're throwing anything away, like you're not going to have a job for very long, or you're going to have to price your dishes like very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we don't want to do that because then nobody will come to the restaurant. But yeah,
100%.
upcycling and sustainability, like I think as a chef in 2024 is just kind of a necessity now.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I remember you had created this one item on the menu a few months back. I believe it was the coffee roasted carrot, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun dish. That was like taking all the spent espresso beans from like making espresso, which normally just get thrown in the garbage. And we've
Mm-hmm.
done a lot of different things with those, but one of those was like we would roast carrots buried in that coffee and we would also make like a coffee caramel.
Wow.
Again, using those things, and yeah, there's a lot of things on that. More of a wintry dish. It'll probably come back next winter, but they were delicious, and I mean, yeah, it was completely vegan, and it was completely upcycled. Didn't cost us very much to make.
That's amazing. And do you collaborate with local farmers or suppliers? And how important do you think as a chef is local sourcing to you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, getting back from the UK, there were so many vegetables or just like specific breeds of vegetables
Hmm.
or herbs or plants that like we couldn't get here.
Hmm.
So as soon as I started talking to farmers, just asking them, hey, can you grow this? Can you grow that? Can you get me these seeds? I mean, even going as far as like ordering seeds for them to see if
Hmm.
they can try and grow it. I think working with local farmers is super important because I mean they're the ones that grow your food. I have a couple farmers that are just like so passionate about growing food,
Hmm.
um, that it's like easy for me to stay passionate about cooking their food. Um, yeah, it's really good. We have a lot of farmers like Tamarack Farms and Dragon Acres Farms, and actually like an indoor kind of grow up, or vertical farming, called Mighty Harvest, and they grow all of our lettuces and all of our like little micro herbs and kind of the
Wow.
things that you normally see as like garnishes.
Hmm.
But instead of us just using it as like a garnish to put something green and pretty on a plate, like a lot of restaurants do,
Hmm.
I get them to grow specific herbs for me, so it like serves a purpose, like marigold leaves because it has like a nice like minty, almost licoricey flavor to add flavor to things as well, not just a green pretty garnish.
Hmm.
So yeah, working with farmers in that way, we can kind of change the dish completely, not just making it look pretty, I guess.
That's amazing.
And then also just speaking to them, like right now is prime growing season. So now I'm getting a bunch of lists from farmers. Okay, we're growing this, we're growing this, we're growing this.
Hmm.
And I've asked them to specifically grow us a couple of things just so we can work with like, even tomatoes that you've never really seen in Canada, or
Hmm.
squash that you've never seen. But now they're starting to plant everything. So they're like giving us lists of like, okay, this, and this is working. Like, what else do you want? Or what other kind of breeds do you want?
Hmm.
It's kind of a crazy gardening world.
Kind of a
And they know,
personalized experience for us.
yeah, but also like they bring us new things too. Like they'll tell us about, hey, we're growing this year. It's an eggplant that's like completely white, and you cook it and it tastes like mashed potatoes. Or like they also like introduce us to some crazy vegetables. Like um, it kind of helps you create a menu when they're doing half the research for you.
That's
Because instead
amazing.
of us just trying to like find all these vegetables,
Hmm.
they'll kind of tell us, hey, we have this, it's really good, and then we'll create dishes specifically based around that.
Hmm. That's
Same with
interesting.
animals. They'll kind of tell us when the animals are ready to go, and we'll kind of plan our menus or our prep days like around that as well. So we know, okay, we're getting a whole pig or a whole lamb on this date. And then I mean obviously we turn a lot of it into charcuterie at the hotel, but
Hmm.
good to kind of like work off their schedule. Kind of takes the pressure off us as being a chef for a bit.
Absolutely. And now this is a question that I have in my mind. As a concierge, I've seen after COVID especially, the guests are always ahead of us. The trends that are kind of emerging are just thrown at everyone in the hospitality world, and
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult to keep up with those trends. So how do you keep up with culinary trends? And are there any particular trends that you're excited about right now?
I'm excited that sustainability and upcycling is actually becoming a trend.
Hmm.
Um, Mostly because I'm already ahead of it,
Hmm.
which is great. So now we're just trying to like talk about it more now that people actually want to hear about it.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, just kind of like, I mean, Instagram does wonders. It's way easier to keep ahead of trends now with like all the social media and
Hmm.
stuff like that. That's probably like my biggest way of keeping up with culinary trends is just like kind of I don't know, vegging out, watching Instagram for 30 minutes or so after work and just like looking at what other people are doing and gaining
Mhm.
inspiration from that and seeing what works.
Amazing.
But
Amazing.
yeah, like I think the biggest trend, and I've been saying it for years, and now I think it's actually starting to happen, like is sustainability and upcycling and people actually, I mean, there was a while when farm to table was like the biggest trend when
Yes.
people actually like cared about where their food was coming from. And now it's not even a trend. I just feel like that's the norm. Like diners want to know what farm these carrots are coming from or what farm this beef is coming from, and is it local and is it this and is it that. They actually like ask the questions, and I feel like it's even like gone past it being a trend now, which is good. It's just like the norm.
Mhm.
So hopefully like once sustainability is done being a trend, it'll just kind of be the norm, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. That will definitely make a huge impact on kind of, saving the resources for a long time.
Yeah.
Perfect. And chef, if you could cook a meal for anyone in the world, who would it be and what would you prepare?
Family probably. Yeah, probably my parents. My parents have always been like crazy supportive of me.
Mhm.
Um, and I just think that cooking for anybody you love is always like more fun and more rewarding.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily think it has to be like anything in particular. Like I could make them a salad, and it doesn't even matter if it was the worst salad in the world. They'd probably still tell me it was the best thing they've ever eaten. um, but yeah, I mean, my parents are super supportive. They come to every restaurant that I've ever been the chef at, even
Amazing.
worked at when I wasn't even the chef. Um, and yeah, I still think cooking for them is still probably the best thing ever. It's like the best feeling. It's why you got into cooking, or why I got into cooking, is like cooking for people you love and you care about, and it's just
Mhm.
like a cool way to show your passion. I
Absolutely.
don't, I don't know what I would cook though. Hard to say. I love, like I said before, I have ADHD. My favorite thing to cook changes like every day.
I would highly recommend you to cook the grilled cheese that is on the menu right now. That's honestly the best grilled cheese I have had.
It's really good, right?
So good. I've recommended it to so many guests, and every single person had the same comment about it, that it's honestly the best grilled cheese ever.
Yeah, that's what we aim for. I mean, being at a hotel, we don't have limits, but I mean, you need to have those like comfort food like staples, like
Absolutely.
burger, fish and chips, and grilled cheese. And like I know a lot of chefs would kind of be egotistical and like not want to cook those things. I kind of take it as a challenge to like I'm gonna make the best grilled cheese ever. Or I'm gonna make the best fish and chips ever. And we've been open for almost, I guess, 2.5 years now,
Mhm.
and had fish and chips on the menu since day one. And I think I've changed it like 5 or 6 times now, but I
Mhm.
think our fish and chips is perfect. Finally, after 2.5 years of like testing and changing things, I think our fish and chips is like perfect. And doing simple things like that can be so hard sometimes,
Mhm.
because everybody has their own opinion of what the best fish and chips in the world is.
100%.
And grilled cheese, like I mean, grilled cheese is probably one of those things that like everybody's first thing they learn how to cook. Not everybody, obviously, but it was for sure the first thing I learned how to cook: grilled cheese and macaroni and cheese, or microwaved Jamaican patties.
Craft dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And my last question to you is, what is one advice that you would give to aspiring chefs who are just starting their journey into this world?
Um, oh man. I mean, it's probably gonna sound bad, but like probably just skip culinary school. It's like it's good, I guess,
Mhm.
but it you can get a lot more out of just like finding a good kitchen, a small kitchen.
Right.
Because I think in smaller kitchens you tend to learn a lot more and a lot faster.
Mhm.
Just work in a kitchen for 2 or 3 years, and then when you think you're ready, um, move, go away somewhere, move, go to Europe or go to the States or go anywhere and try and work at the best restaurants in the world where they're like really pushing boundaries, and I think it'll change your life a lot. It'll change the way that people read your resume. I mean, immediately as soon as I read a resume and somebody has kind of devoted 2 or 3 years of their life to like traveling and getting better at cooking,
Mhm.
um, it catches my attention immediately on a resume. But also, like, you see the difference in cooks. Like, there's just something about going and traveling that just teaches you something different.
Absolutely. I think it's an encompassing education, not
Yeah,
just about the skills, but overall cultural values and different things that you can kind of bring into the food that you're cooking, which is amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think travel would be my like biggest advice. School or not, I think. I mean, some people will say, yeah, go to culinary school or don't. But I mean, you could learn a lot um, of the same things in a small kitchen with the right chef. Finding the right chef might be a little bit hard, but I think all in all, travel is my biggest advice. Just
100%.
go, get out, travel, learn from the best chefs in the world. I mean, just like anything, kind of surround yourself with the smartest people in the room. You want to be in a kitchen with 10 other chefs who are better than you, and then when you're the best one, go find a kitchen where you're the worst one again, and get better. Best way to grow.
That's amazing. I'm sure some of the listeners who are aspiring chefs will definitely heed that advice.
Hopefully.
Well, Chef John, it was a pleasure having you once again. Thank you so much for taking the time and kind of coming on the show. It's great to have you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. Good chat.